How many accounts have you have and are they managed?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable members, good afternoon once again. The Office of the Accountant General of the Federation is the Treasury of the Federation and is responsible for opening accounts of the Federation and indeed the federal government. We are responsible for opening all the recovery accounts. We open them, we maintain them, and we run them. So they are in our custody. Essentially, there are about 4 recovery accounts. One, there is the asset recovery account, the main asset recovery account.
Mr. Chairman.
We also have...
Can I interject, please? Mr. Accountant General, sir, that may be more helpful than when you say about 4.
I'm sorry for using that word about. There are recovery accounts as follows. 1, main asset recovery account. There is also final forfeiture, which there is interim forfeiture account, and in this interim forfeiture account, it has some 2 legs. We have EFCC account. There is also ICPC account. These are the main accounts in focus. In addition, when we talk of recovery accounts, we also have dollar account, we have pound sterling account, we have euro account. These accounts are integral parts of all these accounts, either EFCC or ICPC. If there is any FX designated recovery, either in dollar or in pound sterling or in euro, we open a separate account. So these accounts are there, and the balances are there, the account numbers are there. Now, as far as management of these accounts are concerned, we simply rely on
Mr. Chairman, for the purpose of records, Mr. Accountant General, you made mention, you ran down some names of accounts, main accounts, main asset accounts, that's 1. Interim accounts, that's 2. Final forfeiture accounts, that's 3, which has, the interim has 2 legs, which you said EFCC account, that is 4, ICPC account, that is 5, we have dollar account, that is 6, we have pound sterling account, that is 7, we have euro account, that is 8. I want us, I'm not an accountant. You open these accounts.
Can I?
For the purpose of our secretariat so that they get you correct.
Yes, I have something in writing here.
Okay.
And I will give it to the Honorable Chair for guidance. Do you have another copy?
Okay, thank you. I think I have the yes. Yes.
So for guidance of the committee, at least the list is there. But there are main accounts, So let me go back to my presentation. We, as much as possible, rely on approvals given to us before we allow any payment out of any of these accounts. And the approvals mainly are by the authority of Mr. President through the Honorable Minister of Finance. No any other institution, no any other authority is taken to withdraw or to incur any expenditure out of these accounts. We there was a mention. Anyway, let me not talk on issues that have not raised, that have not been addressed to me. I will allow questions to come before I preempt them. But I know there are issues and questions asked the Honorable Attorney General, which I think I could provide better answer to. And in due course, I believe the questions will come up because I know I'm also going to be asked the same questions. So we run the accounts, we maintain them, we open them, and we rely on authority of the presidency through the Honorable Minister of Finance to make payments out of such accounts.
I want you to repeat what you just said.
I said we open the accounts, we maintain the accounts, we are custodians, and we rely on authority of the presidency through the Honorable Minister of Finance to make disbursements out of such accounts. And
I mean, out of the consolidated revenue account or out of the recovery account?
That's great. I think we are coming to one of the questions you asked the Honorable Attorney General. With the emergence of TSA, Honorable Committee, the consolidated revenue account is now one.
Good.
And it is a single account which has subdivisions, sub-accounts, but which are linked together operationally, and we can see for the purpose of consolidation, aside of the individual balances in the account, what is there, as an overall balance, reflecting the consolidated revenue account. So TSA, in essence, technically replaced the consolidated revenue account. One payment is made, the question of under present circumstance that you have not made payment out of CRF does not arise. It is one single account. They are linked technically, and that is the essence and the import of TSA. I think this clarification is necessary, and it can be given not by any other person, but by the Treasurer of the Federation. And I'm giving this explanation. To TSA.
All revenue
They are
accounts.
all TSA sub-accounts. They are linked. There is one single account now, TSA,
Yeah.
and it has subsets, sub-accounts. Recovery accounts are subsets of the TSA. They are linked, Honorable Chair.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. I don't know accounting, so I need to understand. Do you make payment for non-budgetary? Do you make releases that are not in the appropriation?
All payments, as far as we know, as a treasury, are part of the appropriation. The recoveries we are talking about, is a complete line as part of IGR in the Appropriation Act. In 2021, we have about 23 billion provided. So there is nothing which is out of appropriation, as far as we know, based on the fact that there is a line recovery on the IGR of federal government, and we are making payment reflecting such, provision in the Appropriation Act.
Mr. I'm going to send you a note now. I want you to look at it.
Yes.
And I read out the highlighted section, please. I'm going to send it to you. And
4, Your Excellency, there is no budgetary provision for many of these approvals. So,
okay. Just read any other thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thus, a gradual settlement is being recommended.
Okay. Was the money released?
Yes. Pardon?
The fund for which approval was sought, was it not released?
Well, I'm looking at this document for the first time.
Just open the front
I
page.
don't know what it represents. This was in 2017, a letter written in 2017, and it was written to His Excellency, Mr. President, by the Honorable Minister of Finance, and I'm just seeing a sentence out of a letter with about 6 paragraphs and many prayers. So I read it as such, and I understand it as I read it.
So, but you understand what I'm driving at?
If there is anything that is not provided in some of the expenditure items that are not provided in the budget, I don't even know which items do these constitute.
If I can have the letter back.
Yes.
What's the tenor of a budget? The tenor of a budget of an annual appropriation, what is the tenor?
The tenor is 12 calendar months of an annual budget.
Okay, so is it possible that you could pay, let's say, funds meant for 2017 budget in 2019?
No. It all depends on situations we find ourselves. I know
Let's assume let's assume that the overhead for the ministry was not, for your ministry or for your office was not paid in 2017. The budget year ended March 2018.
Yes.
And then you now release the funds in 2020. Is it possible?
No, I don't think such is possible, because once the year lapsed, it lapsed as far as overheads are concerned. But for capital, there could be extension, there could even be an opportunity for warehousing. All these arrangements are there, and they are part of the process and tradition of the Treasury.
Okay, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to read out this document, which is from your office to the Director of Banking Services, Central Bank of Nigeria, dated 3rd April 2019. Fund transfer, payments of outstanding balance of 2017 allocation of the Presidential Amnesty Program. This was 2019. You're paying it for 2017 program in April 2019. Is that normal? It said purpose of payment being amount released from recovered fund to cover expenses. Recovered fund to cover expenses relating to 2017 fiscal year. Why are you paying 2017 funds in 2019?
May I have privilege to see the document? Honorable Chair, is this the second page? Thank you. Funds transfer, payments out of outstanding balance of 2017, allocation to the Presidential Amnesty Program, asset recovery. Amount released, recovered. Honorable Chair, this is possible. This is possible. Year in, year out, government operates its activities sometimes, or many times. There are instances where services incurred and, programs. Oh, okay. A situation where payment of a particular year is made in a subsequent year is possible. For instance, we are seeing this being 2017 expenditure being paid in 2019. And I'm saying it is possible. And I will explain.
Is that how the operation cycle works?
No. Let me explain, Honorable Chair. I think you deserve some explanation.
Thank you.
So, because as we run our operations, sometimes for reasons, administrative reasons, whatever reasons, lack of funding, we are aware that no given year, particularly for extra overheads, did we pay fully Sometimes we give overheads to MDAs for 9 months. There was a year we gave for only 8 months. So the tendency to incur liabilities is there. It's just there. It may be an outsourced service. I'm just giving an example.
No, what I don't, I mean, where this budgetary head is not rolled over.
So what happens is, this is just one of the situations where accumulated liability of previous year is paid in another year, which is also normal. We have it even, not just this year.
Is it rolled over or just?
It's not a matter of rollover. There is provision in the budget for payment of local liabilities generally.
Okay.
And this, I believe, is part of that.
And overhead will fall in that line as well.
Well, when we say overhead, outsourced services are overheads. For instance, if you engage security, or if you engage services of cleaners, these are overheads. If they are not paid, and you are paying in the subsequent year, you are paying for overhead services. So it's possible, Honorable Chair. We cannot rule out possibility like this. But more importantly,
the Accountant General, sir.
Yes.
You are not likely to pay all the liabilities in the financial year. It is possible. And so it may be rolled over. But when we expect that in the new year, that there will also be appropriation to take care of it. So in this case, since you are paying an overhead for 2016 financial year in in 2019, the question that one should ask, sir, is that do you have appropriation for sale?
There is, I don't know the figure exactly, but I know there is provision for payment of local liabilities. And these local liabilities are not limited to overhead alone, include services and other,
Well, we're not disputing that, sir. That what we are saying is if government owes a debt, yes, you have to pay.
Well, what I'm saying is, Honorable, there is provision of, payment to local contractors, payment of local liabilities in the appropriation. There is.
General.
Well, I cannot say general.
Open-ended.
It's not an open-ended. It is a specific amount, and we have to work within that specific amount. There is no year payment of such liabilities supersedes what is provided in the budget. I'm not aware of any particular financial year where payment to local liabilities or of local liabilities goes beyond what is provided.
Specifics. Thank you, Accountant General.
Thank you.
Mr. Accountant General, does signatures matter in public documents, financial matters?
It does, seriously.
Which means that if I write you a check and I sign a fake signature, you have the right to reject it.
Honestly, signature is key.
So when somebody, a public officer, intentionally use a different signature, what does this point to sign a public document? Is it an indication of fraud or somebody trying to hide something?
This is abnormal and should not be acceptable.
Okay, please, I'm going to pass these documents to you. There are 3 documents of 23 billion naira, or 23 million naira. Please show it to him. Look at the signature there. A second one, same to Central Bank, for $23 million. Please check, same number, same signature, check it. A third one to Governor of CBN for another $23 million. You could see the signatures are the same.
These are genuine signatures?
No, good. No, I'm coming to it. I'm going to show you one.
Okay.
Now, this is for the sum of 20 billion naira, signed by Alexander Adeyemi. Please check, cross-check the signatures.
Mm-hmm. Yes. These signatures are from the Office of Accountant General of the Federation.
The one on the 23 billion?
Yes.
Is it the same signature?
let me make...
It's the same name.
Is
The
the-
same signature.
This is for file copy, initials. This is the one that goes to the CBN. That is how signatures are made. I don't make my full signature for the one that is remaining in my own file. I just sign like this. If you check all records in my office, this is it. This is the full signature. This is the document that has gone to CBN.
So the
These are-
documents you sent to us, were they not file copies?
Well, it could be the same, but this is just our
Is Mr.
signature.
Adeyemi here?
Mr. Adeyemi is my Director of Revenue and Investment, and this is how we sign.
Okay.
Anyone going, the original will
the
carry
copy
this.
you're holding, is that CBN copy or your file copy?
This is CBN copy.
That's CBN copy.
Yes, this is our file copy. All these are our file copy. I claim this. These are my signatures. This is the way I
Well,
sign.
since Mr. Adeyemi is not here, we can't. So I rule that you present Mr. Adeyemi here.
No.
I'm a defender. Please, we'd like to see Mr. Adeyemi to
Can I call him now? He can come now immediately.
We'd like to see Mr. Adeyemi because it's not your signature.
Please call Mr.
and,
Adeyemi to come.
We need to know.
We will affirm these signatures before you, and if even in minuting,
Yes.
even in minuting, all my memo to Honorable Minister carry this. But when I'm signing out, it is this.
We would like to see Mr. Adeyemi.
Please call him.
This committee. When you are coming, Mr. Chairman, I would like to move that Mr. Adeyemi should come with other 5 copies of theirs that will show the same signature as of the one you have shown to you today.
Yes.
Let him cause appearance before this committee with other 4 or 5 file copies addressed to CBN, carrying the same signature before this committee. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Carried.
He is now Director of Revenue and Investment. Luckily, he is still within my system at my headquarters. So over time, we made changes of directors. He was then acting as Director Funds. He is now Director of Revenue and Investment. We will come up, if possible, can we be given so that we come with exactly the same thing we gave you? And if it is in our report, it doesn't matter, we can simply bring the originals in the files for you to see.
That the chief accounting officer, that section states clearly that it shall be immaterial whether by act of delegation to a person or a group of persons, that the chief accounting officer shall be held responsible. Mr. Chairman, I apply that since the chief accounting officer is here and he has admitted to ownership, to authorship of this document, Mr. Chairman, I apply that the chief accounting officer be cross-examined, be taken up on this document rather than asking for his staff. He has admitted that this is a signature.
Yes.
He has admitted that there are 2 sets of signature, the one going outside and the file copy. So, Mr. Chairman, I apply that we should cross-examine the Accountant General on the content, on the value, on the application, on the usage of the money in question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Signature is personal. Somebody cannot affirm my signature in my absence. I don't think it's proper for us to, yes, we asked him questions concerning it, and that's because we could not, they sent us those documents, we didn't manufacture them. So if they're sending off all file copies, how come we got 1 CBN copy out of that? Because this is 20 billion naira of public funds, and we need to understand why. Let the Accountant General will come with the person, it's not a ghost. So, and they'll come with originals showing the 2. So it's just simply explanatory. We're doing this on a friendly note. We're not fighting. So, and the Accountant General appreciate what we're doing. So please, Accountant General, you produce him, bring maybe original copies or something that shows this. Just explaining, and then we'll know that let's remove, any gray areas totally. Thank you.
Can you tell this committee at any point in time, did you receive any approval of withdrawal from any of these accounts, and who authorized such approval? did you at any point in time receive any authorization for withdrawals from these recovery accounts that you mentioned to us earlier on? And who made that authorization?
I have mentioned we receive approvals of Mr. President, and only that through the Honorable Minister of Finance for withdrawals from such accounts. And we have the approvals with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any recovery from the Office of the National Security Advisor?
What happens is we were directed to open the account, the designated accounts, and we make available details of the accounts. And these accounts are with Central Bank of Nigeria in line with the TSA policy. And so, if there is any recovery by any of these agencies, they normally direct lodgement into that account and inform us in writing. Where, for whatever reason, they fail to inform us, when we receive statement of account from the Central Bank of Nigeria, which we do from time to time, we make reconciliation, and at reconciliation we see an amount coming in, so we contact the particular, recovery agency, be it EFCC, so and so on. So like I told you, we have designated accounts. We know what is coming from who and for who. And so we contact them. We've seen this. Is it, so that in our ledger, because we keep manual, physical ledger for each of these accounts, so that we put clearly the narration that this is recovery from ABC, and it came on this date. So reconciliation, and then we contact the agency for clarification as to from where is the money coming, what is it for.
Thank you. Can you kindly educate me, invariably educating the committee, what is the relationship of TSA and federal government account and consolidated revenue fund?
I think at this point I will answer the question, but I will also want to make a point that the TSA should be given a legal teeth. When I say given a legal teeth, it means going by what we have in the financial regulations, and indeed, even the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which the Honorable Chair was making reference to validly, that as far as the revenues are concerned, they should first go into consolidated revenue fund. Yes, it is there. But with the advent of TSA, everything is now pulled together, centralized, yet with sub-accounts that are linked. So there is need for some amendment of the law. The details of which maybe we can talk about later.
Okay.
But the relationship is that all these recoveries accounts are accounts we open with the Central Bank of Nigeria. They are part and parcel and sub-accounts of the TSA as a whole. And if you say, take this money, put it in this account, then it's like you are just saying the same thing. Take from the same account, put in the same account before you spend. No. It is in the TSA, everything is pulled together and is centralized. There is visibility and they are linked. Even though you can say this is account A, account B, account C, but in the end, you can visibly look at it as a whole on a dashboard, which is called TSA, Treasury Single Account.
Okay, I'm a little bit confused. I know it's accounting, you are dealing with figures. What I don't seem to understand, and what most Nigerians, I believe, don't seem to understand is the federal government, that is executive, is operating TSA. Is it using TSA to manage federal government of Nigeria's money, or federal or executive money. Because there is these recoveries are on behalf of Nigeria. And then they go to TSA. And then TSA is an entity of executive, which is owned by the Accountant General of the Federation, which other states may not agree with you.
You see, there is need for further clarity. There is difference between Consolidated Revenue Fund and Federation account. Federation account. Consolidated Revenue Fund is for the federal government. Federation account is for the entire federation. There are federation revenues. There are federal government IGR revenues. When we go to FAC, we share what is on the federation account. The state governments are represented, the local governments are represented, the federal government is represented.
Mr. Accountant General, hold on. I want to, when you talk about sharing, I know what exactly the Constitution said. The Constitution did not make reference to federation account.
No, the share of the federal government goes to Consolidated Revenue Fund, which is account of the federal government and which is being anchored and tailored, and it's just the TSA. TSA does not apply to federation account. TSA does not apply to federation.
I think there's a question I want to ask you regarding this. Recover loans. Okay? Is it a recovery for only the federal government or for the Nigerian Federation?
Depending on the nature of recovery, I think there is need really to have an in-depth understanding of this. Some recoveries are for state governments, specific state governments. I know there was a time recovery was made on behalf of, is it Plateau State? There was one for Bayelsa, there was one for different states. If Delta, so such recoveries go specifically to those states that for which
let's give an example. I mean, there's something trending, the recovery of Ibori loans. Where will it be paid into?
It was paid to the state. Is it Delta or Delta State? It was paid to Delta State.
But that's contrary to the information that it was used for specific
any
budgeting.
recovery, Honorable Chair, Honorable Committee, any recovery that is, arising from looted funds from a particular state goes to the state. The state governors will not even allow this to fly. You know, Honorable. You know they will not. They will take federal government to court for holding their money. So we don't joke and we don't play with that. We pay them their money.
Okay, sir. Mr. Chairman, sir. Accountant General, please let me see. Accountant General, you enumerated earlier before this committee different types of accounts. I put it to you that you have not totally been honest with this committee with accounts stated. I will want you, Mr. Chairman, sir. Mr. Chairman.
It's listing.
I will want you to please specifically give to this committee with different account numbers. The dollars, the pound sterling, the euro, and the naira account with specific account numbers. You know, we are doing this work for Nigeria. Nigeria comprises of 36 plus 1 states. So give with specific account numbers, please, to this committee. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, all the accounts are enumerated in the paper I gave to you. Some of them we even go ahead to give balances. You cannot have a balance without an account, and there shouldn't be an account without account number. So if there is a balance, then there is an account. If there is an account, then there is an account number, and we should know where it is.
What I'm saying is, it is not all. You have not stated everything. That's what I'm putting to you.
And we
There
get
are still outstanding account numbers. Wait now. Wait. You have, what I'm putting to you is not all. You have not given all to this committee.
all the accounts. What is given to me is recovery funds account balance as at September 29.
I think once to know if that account is part of what you wrote, but I think you should deal with this actually.
Well,
You said number of accounts there. I think just to understand, to explain why the difference.
Honorable Chair,
Yes.
to the best of my ability and based on the oath I took before you, I've given you all the facts and all my statements are factual. I've made 2-volume submissions to the Honorable Committee and I stand by what I submitted. 2 volumes of this. All the accounts, recovery accounts are there. None is hidden, none is missing.
Now, I think the basic question will be, is it possible that CBN is operating accounts that you're not aware of?
As far as I know, being the treasurer, I sanction opening of such account. And if any account is there, I would be surprised to hear that it is existing without my knowledge, without my information, and without visibility to the Treasury.
My brother, sir, the accounts which I urge Mr. Chairman to avail you for fair hearing to speak to, sir. Do you know anything about the accounts? Are the account number familiar to you? Do you operate them?
Well, if there is any, being specific, Honorable.
Can I get the documents? The 2 documents.
Is it?
What with the US dollar account?
Which one? Okay, this one. Okay. I'm consulting with the operators of the accounts so that we. This paper? No, this is just account balances, this does not.
Excuse me, please. Let me.
Honorable Chair, let one of my directors speak to the document, please.
You have the time, sir. Go through it and then you can.
Yeah, take the mic. Take the mic.
Academic General, sir, why your lieutenant is going, why your lieutenant is going through to confirm whether you are familiar, whether you operate these accounts, that the committee is of the opinion and not accommodated in your submission. Sir, may I ask that we should, Mr. Chairman, sir, with your permission, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, sir. Chairman, with your permission, I think we should address the issues. The issue, sir, is that in the documents before us, where signature issues have been raised earlier, we have contents of various sums, and that is of worry to the Parliament that these various sums, sir, what were they used for? That is 1. 2, sir, were there appropriation for them? So those are the issues that we should be looking at, sir. $23 million is not a joke. 20 billion naira is not a small money. Those are the issues that Nigerians are interested in, and they want to know what has happened to their money. Thank you.
Before I come to let me just speak to this briefly. There was a time when different agencies were keeping accounts themselves. When I say keeping accounts, they were even going to Central Bank of Nigeria to open account. And there was later a directive, was it in 2018 or 19? I could not remember, that for visibility, for transparency, the Treasury should take control of this account. So EFCC, ICPC, all bring details of your accounts. Let us collapse them into this account. We will make further investigation on some of these to find out if it is such pre-consolidation era that we are talking about. I wouldn't take a position as of now. I don't know if I can be availed this. I'm willing to assist the committee to unravel and find out what this stands for.
So how soon can we get your feedback?
We will get this by tomorrow.
By tomorrow. Okay, so I rule that you come.
We'll get this by tomorrow.
The clarification
Yes.
by tomorrow.
We'll do it.
No, please. For document, just for document. Just for him to bring, not on the subject.
Mr. Chairman, let me just come to the aid of the Accountant General. Although, fortunately or unfortunately, the Attorney General has been excused, he made mention about the inability of the National Assembly to come up with a law that will help him on tracing, recovery, and the management of recovered and looted funds. While we know there are sufficient laws that can address all those problems. We just didn't want to drag it with the Attorney General, which I know that he knows we have sufficient laws to do that. That's where we are now, because we have the laws to get where we are now. I don't know. Let me ask the Accountant General whether he feels there is need for a legislation from National Assembly to give him some legal backing to open accounts. Like you rightly said earlier on, that there is need to legitimize, to legalize TSA. I think TSA is legalized. Yes, TSA is legitimate. It's a legitimate federal government account. I don't think it requires any law. If I can recollect, you are mean that will give you an opportunity to open accounts.
A legal backing to do my routine job. My routine job is there, and I have the backing already. But I'm saying the advent of TSA has brought about some changes, which in a way can go counter to provisions of the existing laws. And so there is need for some amendments, and we can be key to pointing out where these amendments are needed and are required as far as our operations are concerned. But for our routine job, we are already legally backed, and we are doing that. We are just seeking for key amendments. Finance and Control Act 1958, which is still in force, is one of the issues. And even there are many other issues. A lot of things have happened around public finance reform initiatives at government, at federal level, and there is need really to identify and specifically address some of these matters so that they are not left under lacunas.
Honorable, yes.
And whose mandate and responsibility is it to hold the Treasury, the Financial Secretariat of the funds of Federal Government of Nigeria? And if there is any discrepancy between the person that warehouses and the Secretariat that puts down all the finances as its Treasury, if there's any discrepancy, who should be held accountable, or is it wise to be overlooked? It's just a simple question, sir.
Simple, honorable, but loaded. We are the Treasury, and Treasury has specific functions. as provided in the extant rules and regulations. And when you say secretariat, I really find it difficult to understand exactly what you mean.
That's the treasury, because anything documentation.
Yes, documentation, custody of accounts, management of accounts, maintenance of accounts, making releases on behalf of government is the function of the Treasury of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I head the Treasury. So I take responsibility for all this. If there is discrepancy,
That's right.
and I don't know the nature of discrepancy, is it differences arising from balances from accounts vis-a-vis the ledger? I mean, this is normal in accounting.
To that. Let me, excuse me, Accountant General.
No, I think, Honorable Chair, I'll still, because I feel it's important to address the matter as it is. Differences in accounting, in finance, management is normal. So all we need to do is to reconcile, to see what is the source of the difference, then what do we do? Is it due to infraction? Then we take necessary measures to address it legally. Is it normal differences? Then we reconcile.
Sorry,
and
sir.
move on.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Sorry, sir. I think the elementary definition of accounting, which you and I know, systematic method of writing down entries in an orderly manner so that one can see the true financial position at any point in time. And if you're talking about reconciliation, there's a timeline, there's a limit. Reconciliation must be adopted, where you can clearly say that within the 6 months you must have reconciled the account, within the 12 months there must be a ceiling. So I'm asking you, no matter from what trend or the assumption comes from, if there's any discrepancy, there should be a timeline that it must be reconciled. Because why I'm saying this is that the document that was sent to you, which you have observed, you now say, okay, give me time to go and look at it. So if there's any discrepancy at the end of the day, somebody is holding the record and somebody is warehousing the funds. So saying that, no, it's normal, no, it's not proper, there must be a timeline for reconciliations to take place. That's exactly just what I want to say.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Accountant General, this COVID loot to December 2020, is that correct? Please, Mr. Chairman, sir, with your permission, I would like him to see this. This document is at when due. The balance there, please, is at when due. Is that your document and you submitted to this committee?
Office of Accountant.
Yes.
To June 2020.
Okay.
This was part of what was raised yesterday.
Please go down, please. Excuse me. No, I have another question to that.
Okay.
Hold on. Then, can you look at this document, please? Second line, please, with your permission, Mr. Chairman.
The same document?
No, this is another one. Okay. Can you read the first 3 lines before Nigerians and this committee, please? The first 3 lines.
Confirmation of recovery of the sum of 5 billion, and so on. I am directed to refer to your letter referenced, yes, dated 19th October 2020, Appendix 1, and to confirm the receipt of 5,494,743.71 euros and credited into the federal government asset recovery account number this, and that. Yes, I read.
Accountant General.
Yes.
So why is that not reflecting in the document submitted, the balances submitted to this committee? That's 5 million euro. Yes.
That's at September in November. This money came in October, so it's in October statement.
We made submission which gives balances as at November. This is it. Our submission is as at November, and the balances as at September, which reflected in a month later. So they are not in the statement that we submitted.
Mr. Accountant General, I mean, I'm going to just ask.
We have a statement. We have a statement for October which shows this balance, and it's normal. You receive an amount in a given month, and it is reflected in a subsequent month, particularly where FX is involved, not local currency. The statement can be produced.
No, Mr. Chairman, my question to you, Accountant General.
Yes.
Why is it not in the ledger submitted to this committee? Your balance of account different. Your ledger report to this committee, why is it not reflecting that euro, that 5 million euro, why is it not reflecting in the ledger submitted to this committee?
Well, this is what I was telling you. Reconciliation is always there, and all accountants will attest to that.
We are talking of 5 billion euro.
There is nothing.
No, excuse me.
There is nothing being hidden.
Accountant General, is very
The
simple and
statements are there.
straightforward. It's very simple and straightforward. It's very simple and straightforward.
I don't want us to
Let me allow one of my directors just to say a word. After all, these receipts were made where we got this receipt after our submission was made. So there wouldn't have been this.
We will give you an opportunity.
From the CBN.
Accountant General, I will give you an opportunity to reconcile some of these things. Just hold on, because there are certain things I'm going to ask that you help us with to make things easier. Okay? Let's look to make these things easy. You do a yearly breakdown of receipts from recoveries.
Yes.
Let's say from 2015 to 2020. You're blocking his view. A yearly breakdown. How much was receipted?
Yes.
How much was spent as expenses, maybe for recoveries? How much was appropriated and balanced? Can we have that from 2015 to 2020?
We will produce this, exactly.
I mean, it makes things easier.
We will produce this tomorrow.
Good, fantastic. So we expect that
We'll produce this tomorrow.
Okay.
This is an amount received by Central Bank of Nigeria, for which we already submitted this before we even got this letter from CBN.
You see, I'm on your side.
Yes, so we will update you. By tomorrow, you will get full position.
Accountant General,
yes.
What you see, I've given you thing, and that you have done the appropriate thing. We want to help you to help us so that we can achieve the same goal.
Was not inclusive of this amount. And so, sir, the question we want to ask first of all, sir, is that are you familiar with this document? Are you familiar with this transaction?
That is what I will go and now.
No, but sir, looking at it because, I owe you a duty of care. I watch your back. Sir, I'm representing you here, sir. Sir, the point I'm making is this, sir. If you look at this document, it emanates from your office, and it was addressed to the Attorney General of the Federation. Take a look at it again, sir. Please show him. Show him. No, sir. Look at it. Look at the letterhead. Look at the letterhead, sir.
This is confirmation. Yeah, it's my own document.
Exactly, sir.
It's my own document.
So, sir, the worry, sir, Accountant General, my NTA, please, Uncle, the worry of the committee is that you are asked to give a report up to December 2020. Sir, remember, sir, that we're in 2021 and we're already in May. We are in May. So, sir, it won't be out of place, sir, to ask for a record, financial records drawn up to 31st December 2020. And that is in October, I guess, last year. So, and I'm very happy that you recognize that it emanated from your office, that it's your document. So I know balances can change. Do you understand? We know balances can change. So if you give a position, say in May, in 2020, it won't be the same in October 2020. So we understand that. But we are just curious, worried that that 5 million euro is not 5,000 naira.
Honorable, the request for information is to November, not to December. is to November, and we gave our information to November. This came after.
No, this
Even where we have
which month is this, sir? Which month is this?
This is October.
And this is November.
But the request actually was for information balances as at September, even though we made it available before committee as at November.
And then so one expect that they want to have been covered, sir.
But then we are trying to restrict ourselves to the period in question. In any case, this is what came in October and reflected in the accounts after the date of this request.
Okay, my leader, sir, gentlemen, my leader, sir.
In any case,
excuse me, sir.
we agreed.
Accountant General, take this from me.
Yes.
You see, just like the chairman observed, we are not at war.
We are not.
You see,
Certainly.
we are all working together, to make Nigeria a better place. Mr. Chairman, sir, fair hearing is a very serious constitutional matter. Very serious constitutional matter. Records don't lie. Records don't lie. 5 million euro cannot disappear anyhow. We can trace. Why don't we give the Accountant General an opportunity to update his records? And like I've said, Mr. Chairman, sir, excuse me, sir, what is important, Mr. Chairman, sir, what is important to Nigerians is account of the total amount recovered from loot and proceeds of financial crimes and its application. That is what Nigerians are interested in. And sir, and that is the purpose of this committee. This committee must unearth what the proceeds, what has been used for. If you are saying, excuse me, sir, if you are saying you apply a proceed to Lagos-Ibadan Road, to Kaduna, to Abuja, to Kaduna-Kano Road, do we have value for money? Performance audit, project audit. Those are the issues that we want you to account up to the last kobo. Based on the submission of the Attorney General of the Federation. The Attorney General of the Federation has given an account, the legal background to all the recoveries. But this committee is interested. The asset you disposed of that you sold, the proceeds, were the asset valued at the real price or the undervalued?
Honorable, we will make this available, this information available tomorrow. As we said.
Let me intervene here.
Yes.
I tried to help you, and I stated the things we need to do to make things very easy. You've sent us, okay, this is how much was received. I mean, like my colleague mentioned when the Attorney General was explaining, you paid him money. It's not his business to know where you paid from. So what we want to do is now benchmark how much was received. Break down, this is how much was received from this. This is how much was expended. And then you itemize who and who it was paid for. Then you give us the balance. Because if, let's assume you receive 100 billion naira in 2019, and you spent 100 billion naira, we want to know what projects, or for what, is it for NSIP? Were they paid to NSIP? You give us the date. Was it paid to this? You give us the date. Was it paid maybe discretionary spending? You let us know. Those are the things we want you to have in that document that you're going forward to follow tomorrow.
We will incorporate these elements, which clearly are not in the report, but for all other details, we've been able to give who is the recipient of what in our report. And, pardon? No, I am saying this element is not there, but we'll incorporate it.
So
that is why
an opportunity to update
and it will be tomorrow. We'll bring an update.
Mr. Chairman, sir. Looking at the presentation of the Accountant General today, vis-a-vis the request of this committee before him, that we should give us adequate record of recovered, expended, and with the notion of in the notion of the presentation I made to him, a record emanating from his office with 5 million euro not being included, I'd like to move that the Accountant General is concealing information before this committee, and therefore cause him to appear before the whole House of the House of Representatives of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable. I need to appeal to us.
Mr. Chairman, sir.
We stated it
Mr. Chairman, sir.
emphatically that first, we're trying to solve problems. You know, sometimes in a bid to solve a problem, you don't escalate what can be solved. I believe you will just
Honorable.
error.
If
Can
it
you let
is-
me
if it-
land?
honestly,
Can you
if
please
it
let
is-
me land?
Okay.
We've given me another opportunity to look at the record, straighten the record. Maybe at the time he was writing the initial report, he didn't expect that would be this detailed. Sometimes accountants give background, they give a little, they don't go into the nitty-gritty. We have given him another
Well,
opportunity
Mr. Chairman,
to
if
go
it
into
so
the
pleases
nitty-gritty.
with my colleagues, you and my colleagues, I will, but I will see,
Yeah,
I will
please,
withdraw
please,
it.
please, let's
I will step
step
it
down
down.
your motion.
Let me
Thank
step
you.
it down.
Thank you.
Okay, I will step it down. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
For the period of 2017 to 2020. Is there a possibility that it could mean that you could have omitted something from this schedule?
To the best of my knowledge, we have not omitted
Anything?
anything.
Okay, now let me read this. On August 1st, 2017, you made a payment of 6,119 million to the office of NSA. It's not reflected here.
Please, can I just see both?
Please, I want you to look at it. No, I give it to him. It's already highlighted. Please show him this. This is a statement of account.
It's the contract. The money came in the picture, the register. Is this
The same figure of 6.119 debited on 1st August 2017 was okay.
Yes, sir.
My attention is drawn to the fact by the relevant operators of the account that this payment to ONSA Falcon Eye project was made in August 2017, and Honorable Chair, the same payment was reversed and the payment was made in August, August 2017 is here as recorded, but reversed in June, precisely June 16th, 2018. So we have not, reported it as a payment because there is reversal.
Sorry. I need to understand this. A payment was made in August 2017 and reversed in June.
2018.
June 2018. That's almost a year
Yes.
for reversal?
Yes.
Where was the funds within this period before it was reversed? Reversal means that it was returned by the bank.
Yes.
It takes a year to reverse?
Well, for whatever reason, there is reversal.
Anyway, okay, now, please hold on a bit. It's not reflected there, I agreed it was reversed.
And it is
I still insisted the same amount, 22nd July 2019, the same, 6,520 million was paid for the same project and still not reflected in your account.
Not reflected?
Same. That's why I said 22nd July 2019.
It is here. Yes, it's in the submission.
Okay, Mr. Chairman,
The
sorry.
first one was reversed.
What is?
What number is it on the submission?
It is on this, this paper I collected, Chair, from you. The second payment was on 3rd July 2019. Here it is. Item 1,
Mr. Chairman.
3, 4, 5.
So,
The list.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, Mr. Chairman, Accountant.
CBN federal government accounts. Is it normal that a payment was reversed 5 months after? Is that how? Where was the money for that period?
The money was in TSA account of ONSA, not in a commercial bank. No government agency operates commercial bank account.
So ONSA returned it to you?
Return it.
Okay, because they don't have further need for it.
Because for whatever reason administrative, we don't know whether there was an issue, but it was returned that it was not the right time to pay the contractor or so. So it was returned and we took it back and it's reflected.
Okay, thank you.
Written assessment on status of all recovered loots. So where do you want me to read, please, sir?
No, I mean, the basic thing, what was the conclusion of the letter?
The letter
You can read out the entire letter, it's not
I'm
confidential.
directed to. The letter is simply saying that recovery funds with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
No.
Unless I'm reading it.
Let me read it for you. I think let's not confuse it. The NSA says they do not have a recovery account, and the NSA is unaware of the recovery account. Because the NSA says they don't know.
No, speak. Use the mic to speak.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair, Honorable members. The NSA account, actually there used to be an EFCC team in the NSA's office, and recoveries related
I think you need to be on note before you can speak.
so was approved that all the recovery accounts should be consolidated under the Office of the Accountant General. There was a team in the NSA office. I think it's an AFCC dedicated team. So I think that account was specifically opened for recoveries emanating from the ONSA office as at that time. But we may need to check at the primary record because we have all the documents, we have all the submissions made by all these agencies when those recovery designated accounts were put in place.
I think there's going to be a lot of clarification now. EFCC officers attached to NSA office keeping a separate recovery account. No, I mean, if you're working for EFCC, no matter where you are you allowed to operate an account where you're different from the EFCC account?
It's a dedicated account, sir. We may need to check the records and then we can give you the background, what led to that, the approval to open the account.
Where's the payment mandate?
Sorry, sir. I think in a system where you are in charge of all the treasuries, whether ministry, agencies, and all the like, and there's every likelihood that in some occasions, you usually send memos, sorry, sir, usually send memo across to all of them for one information or the other. Has there been any time you've extended any memo directing either EFCC or NSA that they should bring forth all monies they received in line with this investigative?
Yes, there has been a lot of communication between the Office of Accountant General of the Federation and the investigative agencies with regards to recoveries of funds. And more importantly, there was a specific directive by the federal government that we should harmonize so that every agency should not be keeping records and accounts on their own. And that was the time when Treasury took full control. Hitherto, they kept the account until they got final forfeiture. So, with that, we don't have visibility of what was happening before consolidation anyway. And now, we under the directive of government, we had to come, as a Treasury to take control, to take over, so that even if the interim forfeiture is visible to us, is maintained by us, is kept by the Treasury. And so there are a lot of correspondences to that effect between our office and the investigative agencies.
Okay, within the time, maybe in the last 1 year, when you send the last correspondence to that effect, that they should report all, no matter how infinitesimal, the information concerning this recovery. Have any of them within that time declined or refused to do?
In fact, the investigative agencies, all these agencies, EFCC, ICPC, ONSA, and so on, including police, including whoever, are under obligation, and they know.
No, I don't mean obligation. I say since that time,
yes,
till now. Any of them?
I'm not.
They are up to date. That's what I'm saying,
I'm
right?
not aware of any situation where any of them failed to give us information. Sometimes they wait because of the legal issues around the matter till it is concluded to a certain point. So, other than that,
what is the window? You say for a certain point. What's the window usually give them?
Well, I wouldn't know, because
making the return
unless they come to us, I wouldn't even know that they are handling this or that, except where I hear over the news that EFCC is making recovery, and that
okay,
is
there is no established timeline which you have given to them that if you are making any recovery, once this money comes into your hand, you must make that returns to the Accountant General or the details within 3 months or 1 month or something.
No, it's not even
open-ended
arrangement. It's not even about 1 month or 3 months or whatever. They know.
No, not knowing.
They know.
You see, communication in that manner is supposed to be, you must put pen on pad, it must be very formal.
No, Honorable, yes. We are all guided by government directive. When there is a firm, single government directive that this be done, so everyone must be guided.
It's not on that. Sorry, sir.
The right thing.
It's not. Sorry, sir.
Yes.
It's not your responsibility. It's the responsibility of your office. If it's between you and a brother or a friend, that's a different thing. But in a situation your office is trying to have a correspondence with another office, it must be very formal, written.
We have been having correspondences for them to make available information on final forfeiture and the amounts.
And all of them are up to date?
Yes, as far as we know.
So what's the window between the time they should get the recovery and the time they should make the necessary returns? What's the window?
Well, what's
the timeline?
In all honesty, there is no official timeline given.
It's an open-ended
I wouldn't want to commit myself or commit them to a window.
So it's an open-ended thing. You can bring it anytime, even though it's 1 year or 2 years or 6 months or whatever.
No. It cannot be that.
So what is it like?
Well, a reasonable period of time.
Sorry, sir?
A reasonable period.
But that's what I'm saying.
Well, it's not defined.
It's not defined. When it's not defined, it's
and it cannot be open-ended.
So any person can keep any money till any time, and now it's allowed.
You see, what is reasonable in the sense of an accountant?
Yes.
In this context,
yes,
cannot be more than a month.
More than a month?
Yes.
Okay.
In this context.
Please, Secretariat, I would like you to take notice of that. He said that it's within 1 month that every correspondence and every money must be returned once it is collected. 1 month, not less than 1 month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Accountant General, government agencies from the recovery account give out loans to government agencies.
I know there are instances, I may not be specific. I know there are instances where, due to our revenue challenges and non-availability of funds in specific accounts, under some critical conditions, I know we do borrowings. And when we borrow, we state clearly it is borrowing. It's normal, and even though I cannot tell you specifics because I don't have the exact figure to tell you.
again, do you borrow, let me just say, sometimes, it's not in the budget, they have critical needs, you borrow on budgetary borrowing. Extra budgetary borrowing. Do you do extra budgetary borrowing?
I am not aware of any extra budgetary borrowing. I am not aware of extra budgetary borrowing out not within the appropriation. I'm not aware. I am not really aware. Okay. Yes, I've seen this, and
the question was if the loan was refunded.
I have not even seen where this stands to be a borrowing, sir. I have been struggling. I've been struggling to see. Okay.
This is from the Office of Accountant General. Okay?
These are two different amounts. The first one is $20 million. The second one is $23 million. And so they are two different amounts, sir.
Take this.
It's the first one given to me.
Anyway, okay, even if, you said this the $23 million.
Yes, sir.
Is stated as borrowing.
It is.
I asked you, the borrowed fund, was it refunded?
I know at different times we made representation to the then Honorable Minister of Finance to the effect that some of these borrowings need to be provided for in the budget and paid for. And as far as I know, this in particular, or that 23 in particular, which is tagged as borrowing, I cannot conclude here that it has been paid, because I need to go down the records to determine exactly if it is paid or not. But I know if it is tagged as borrowing, it should be paid.
Okay, I think there's still another set of borrowing which will, from the recovery account, are not being refunded. Unless you're able to prove to us that they were refunded, we'll consider that to mean that payments have been made illegally. So what I'm ruling now is to give you the Thursday to give us evidence that those funds were refunded. Thank you. So ruled. And that's why I've ruled that you present this paper. We will not have that session in public because there are a lot of things we need to know. If our fund is being used in our own interest without our knowledge, we want to know. That's why I use the word in our own interest without our knowledge, without appropriation. We need to understand how it's being used so that accountability, even if you're using it our own interest, we should at least be accountable. We should give account of that fund that's being used in our own interest. Even if we don't give it publicly, we should give it privately so that at least public fund is not wasted. So I need you to look at it. There's so many others like that I have not given to you, but if you look at your record, you will see them. The same way you're referring to these, all those borrowings in line with that, to all the vital, critical ministry, the critical agencies that you borrowed them to. Please, we need to get evidence that they were refunded. If they were not refunded, we are aware that some of those funds for which you borrowed funds received budgetary allocation for the same project. So we need to clarify that, and then, at least when we meet, you agree for Thursday, and so that's why we decided that we're going to hold a private session on Thursday with him giving us breakdown. If they've not been refunded, we've got to find a way to ensure that we reconcile properly. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, for the benefit of the press.
Mr. Chairman, please, a lot. Please, Mr. Cameraman or whatever, please shift a little, because I just want to just put something straight. I heard when they mentioned that 6.1 billion was sent to an account, that you said that's an operational account by EFCC, and NSA says it's not aware of the account. Yes. Yes.
No.
We want to, so that by the time you're feeding us now and later, we'll be on the right path to find out the legality of such funds. I don't know whether you got it right.
Well,
Are you with me?
there could be some mix-up. Are we talking of recovery account, or I mean, what specific?
But you have mentioned 6.1 today that was sent to an account. You said it's operational by EFCC? Yes, sir.
I think there's a bit of confusion, but it's all part of the document.
No, so that by the time it's going to
what I'm
on
explaining to you now is that we mentioned Office of NSA. In respect of this, you mentioned, and some of the other issues that we said you should bring on Thursday. I think we'll deal with it when it comes on Thursday. Thank you. My dear brothers and sisters, my honorable colleagues, trust you, if I knew you were fasting, maybe I would have taken you before the this morning.
I speak better when I'm fasting.
Oh, okay. So maybe when you're coming on Thursday, please continue to fast. I appreciate you. I mean, one of the things you will understand from our proceedings is that we mean well. We've been given a mandate that's in the interest of our nation. Much as we want to do it in such a way that safeguards the security of the nation as well. We want to protect our country. We want to ensure that funds, public funds, there's transparency in the utilization of public funds. There's transparency in the management of recovered assets. We're looking at all that. So we'll thank you for your cooperation. We'll thank you for the fact you've given. There are a lot of things that we've ruled that you should produce.
Hereby move for an adjournment of this session till tomorrow, 27th at 10 a.m. I so move.
Mr. Chairman.